Hey all, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review in the spoiler zone. That's right, coming at you with another movie review in the spoiler zone. And today, we are going to spoil this. Oh yeah. If you guys have never seen Last Action Hero and you are a fan of action movies overall, you are missing out. It's a great action movie, which is a parody of action movies within an action movie, and it is directed by an action movie director, John McTiernan. And I always get the years on this film mixed up. I always kept thinking this film was 95, but it was actually 1993. And, this film is epic. That's all I can say. This is an epic film. It is a great movie. And, it was really well done. And it is amazing. It has got a great cast. And, what can you say? It's enjoyable as all hell, and I love it. And what can you say? And the movie basically has many multiple layers, and these layers are given to several different things. Like I said, kid likes going to see action movies, gets sucked into the action movie somehow, interacts with the action movie, which, as we see, is its own unique world and dimension that we create. It's like we give these movies life, which is in many ways true. Hawk, what's going on now? Damn it! My dog just annoyed, but as you can see, it's nighttime. I wanted to hopefully get this done in the day. Had a couple distractions again today, and talked with my friends for a little while longer than I expected, and just, whole bunch of different things that fell into the bag that was beyond my control. I didn't have all the right medicines together, and it's sort of, it's not been a bad day, but it has been a bit of a mess. What can I say? And anyhow, this film is epic. Last Action Hero is so good. And I will get into the breakdown of the cast and plot. We'll go into the Rotten Tomatoes reviews as well, which I have, again, uploaded, so you won't see me raw off the cup trying to type this in as I go. But, oh man, it seems like critics and audiences alike did not like this movie. I don't get it. I don't get why. I don't understand why, but hey, I think they're missing out on a very rare gem. Last Action Hero is a fucking good ride. And as you can imagine, just want to make sure we have everybody who we need. Oh yeah, okay, we do. And we have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays Jack Slater, and himself, obviously. And Jack Slater is the hero character that the main boy in this movie, whose name is, I think it's Danny Mann or Danny Rand, or maybe it is Danny Mann, because I think Danny Rand is the, yeah, my phone's going off, son of a bitch. Sorry. But it is the character of, what's his name, Iron Fist, who they messed up on the Netflix show, but oh well. But either way, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who on the cover here plays Jack Slater, is the main character of his own film. And, Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously plays Jack Slater, and I think this is Jack Slater 6 or 7, so it's making fun of how many action movie sequels we've had. Obviously the Lethal Weapons, the Die Hards, You'd probably lump in a little bit of Terminator, since there were two Terminator films at the time. And we've had all these different action films of the 70s and 80s. I mean, there were several Dirty Harry movies by this point. Well, actually, yeah, we had 5 Dirty Harry movies, and several others that were enjoyable, some cheesy, but ultimately good. And like I said, either way, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Jack Slater, who's the character in the movie, and we see him actually later on as himself in the movie too. And Jack Slater is this tough as nails cop who doesn't listen to authority, and like all of Arnold Schwarzenegger's characters, the guy is basically a mountain and a brick. He's unstoppable, and nothing can get him. And there's like hilarious points where he's kicking around dynamite without caring. He can shoot without looking. He knows how to like hit on all the movies. He's got he's got an ex-wife with a tape recorder that he puts her on standby. He's got the hot-looking daughter in the 6th film. He has a son who we find out in, I think it was Jack Slater number 4, that one of his arch nemesis is the Ripper, killed or died with him when Jack Slater killed the Ripper. The Ripper grabbed hold of his son as they were on top of a building, and as the Ripper went over the side, he took Jack's son with him. And there goes my phone. Give me a minute. Hello guys, back again. Sorry about that. Phone was going off. My friends were texting like crazy, and what I get is that Jack Slater is made up of all this cool, strong stuff, but we also learn how his character goes through tragedy. And as Danny goes to this world, he finds out that Jack Slater has ups and has downs. I mean, he's this superhero, larger than life action hero character, but yet he hates how his life sort of is. He hates how he had to lose his son. He's upset that he isn't married anymore, that he didn't do completely right by his ex-wife. He's upset that his daughter is actually following, I think it's Melody or Melanie, is following in his footsteps. And there's just all these different things that come into play, and you find out, the writers and directors who create these worlds, who do these movies, create these real worlds, and at the same time, nobody, notices this, because, I mean, it's just sort of funny, because when we watch movies, it's sort of funny when a movie actually comes out, how we immerse ourselves in the world of the movie or the TV show. Is it possible that the world becomes real with what we're watching? It's like a nice, cool little touch, and I love it so much. And we see how Jack Slater sees that, and he actually discovers that Danny is telling the truth later on, and there's actually a villain played by Charles Dance, who I think his name is Benedict, who actually escapes and gets out, and they follow Benedict into the real world, and that's where Jack Slater discovers, he's not impervious to certain pain, certain bullet shots and certain wounds can hurt him, and he's actually, like saying, this really also sucks that he's stupid too, and it's just like, holy crap, this world is different, it's not as, the world is also not as stylized as he's seen it before. And they actually discover that the villain Benedict, when he gets out, he's actually going to find a way to actually kill the real actor of Arnold Schwarzenegger, because in Benedict's mind, if he kills Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's not going to be a Jack Slater character, and thus Jack Slater won't exist. So like in a way, interacting with weird time travel as well, which makes it interesting. And as you can imagine, Jack Slater and Arnold Schwarzenegger actually run into each other, because actually Jack Slater stops, I think, the Ripper, or it's it's the Ripper who tries to kill him, and Jack Slater stops him, but then Arnold Schwarzenegger tackles him, and he's actually saying, wow, you're the most nice looking real like stuntman I've ever seen. We ought to get together, have a little fun times and stuff. Yeah. And like Jack Slater's like he's like, no, I don't want to work with you. You've ruined my life. And it actually sticks in raw when Jack Slater says that, because he realizes everything about his life is a lie. Somebody wrote his entire life down on paper. Somebody directed his life on a set. It's like nothing is real, and there's just all those things that sink in. And as we find out through this movie, Jack Slater, through all of the ups and downs, actually chases down Benedict, and Ripper's there too, and Ripper sadly has Danny, and they're redoing the same thing from Jack Slater 4. And what I like is, I'll get into it a little bit. Ripper goes into the whole thing about the movie, and then, Danny actually goes over the side. Jack finds a way to kill the Ripper, and he saves Danny, and then Benedict comes out of nowhere. They get into a quick scuffle. I forget. Jack gets shot by Benedict. He goes down. Danny and Jack lose the ticket, and the ticket actually has Death come out of the screen. And I'll mention it now because I probably mentioned it a few more times. Death is greatly played in a small cameo role by Ian McKellen. So they even get Ian McKellen to be a part of The Last Action Hero, playing Death. And I forget the movie that Death was in. I know it's a well-known movie, but I forget who it is and what it's in. But actually, Ian McKellen comes out of the screen scaring people and having them leave. And it's like they actually get Jack Slater. Oh yeah, there's a ambulance taking Jack to the hospital, and they don't think Jack is gonna make it. And Danny actually forces the ambulance to try to take him back. He has Benedict's gun, but the paramedics flee in terror, and then Danny has to drive the ambulance himself to the movie theater. He gets Jack back to the movie theater, where Death comes by and says, if you have the other half of the magic ticket, that still works too. So Jack is able to get back in to the movies, to where they're able to help him, because it's just a grazing flesh wound, because most of the main character wounds are like, they're bad, but they're easily patched up and livable. So making fun of how the heroes don't get hurt as much. So everything is sort of back to normal for Jack, but Jack basically doesn't want to be the stereotypical action hero anymore. He's telling his lieutenant and his boss how he doesn't want that anymore, and he's saying how, you're always yelling, you're the comic relief, you're this and that. So he's breaking the fourth wall of his own movie, and it actually breaks the fourth wall in the movie too, because he actually winks back to Danny at the end of the film. So in a way, it's sort of a happy ending for Jack Slater at the end of this film. And it's so hilarious seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger play a caricature of action films and still have it be like the characters he plays throughout the film, and then realizing how raw this is for him, because he realizes how his life is never real, and it's just, he played it so well. Arnold Schwarzenegger did a bang-up job in this movie. He was really good in this movie, and again, I really think he and Last Action Hero do not get enough credit for what they did, and John McTiernan as the director too. I really think there's not a lot of credit going around for these characters. And he's a little bit later on down the line in the credits on the movie disc here, but there's actually a picture of him looking older, and it's like, dang, wow, he looks a little. I mean, the face looks the same, but he does look older and different. But it's oh, not Danny Man. It is Austin O'Brien who plays Danny Madigan, who is the kid, and Danny Madigan is, this one kid. He lives in a not the safest part of New York. It's dangerous. It gets robbed all the time. It's only him and his mom. He's actually this kid who loves seeing the Jack Slater movies is actually watching Jack Slater 4, to where right at the end when the Ripper gets killed, we don't get to see what happens to Jack's son, where it fudges out, so we don't get to see him killed. They say that as a surprise for later on in the film, but then all of a sudden, Danny goes up to the film projection. He finds his friend Nick. Nick was sleeping on the job because Nick is this old, tired man in the movie theater. And I guess what they're doing is I think they're expanding upon the movie theater. Like, they were going to change the theater up and add a lot of the new styles that we sort of get to movies nowadays. Even though that's a lot older, movies are more high tech, and like, we have the recliners now, you can have the movie theater restaurants now, and sadly a lot of things have gone to streaming thanks to FN virus. Thank you for ruining the movie theater experience, basically, virus. I mean, I know the movie theaters are still around, but now movie theaters are almost extinct. Like, I admit, if there's ever a chance to go see a movie in a movie theater, and I want to go and I have the affordability to go, I'm going to try to go, because seeing a movie in a movie theater, that experience, whether you've seen the movie before, whether this is your first time viewing a movie, new movie, old movie, classic, doesn't matter. You can't beat the big screen feel of the movie. I went with my friends to see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in a little movie theater called The Loft here in Tucson, trademark for The Loft, and that was amazing. That was great fun watching that movie on the big screen. I mean, there is a feeling in movie theaters that you can't get sitting sort of in your home all the time, even if you have the best sound system and all the, hip-hop and jazz. Plus, I mean, it's that experience, and you can't beat that experience. And that's sort of what I like, what this movie focuses on, too, is it focuses on Danny's experience in the movie theater. And, like, Nick offers Danny to come back to see the new, I think it's, again, Jack Slater 6 or 7, I forget. And so, Danny goes home. We find out that he was out all night, his mom was worried, they live in this little apartment. Danny has to go to school, and Danny's mom says, don't open the door, do it, be safe, keep the door locked when I leave for work. And when you get home from school, just do what you have to do. And Danny goes off to school, and when he's at school, we're actually seeing his teacher, played by Joan Plowright, who once again another well-known actress, for a little supporting cameo here. Joan Plowright, who's his teacher, they're like she's showing them. She's showing them William Shakespeare, and I think also a bit of it was also a Laurence Olivier movie. Plus, I think they were watching the movie that F. Murray Abraham is in, where he plays the character that kills Mozart, which Danny uses for Jack later on to the character of F. Murray Abraham, and it's just really funny and cool when they have that later on in the film, and believe me, I'll get to explaining that. But Danny he's in class, he's watching Hamlet or whatever the Shakespearean film is, and he starts dreaming of Jack Slater / Arnold Schwarzenegger shooting people up and doing all the things where it's like, to be or not to be, not. And just shooting people up, and then you have like a council member go, "Stay thy hand, fair prince." Who says I'm fair? And it's just like all these zany things that Danny thinks of that makes this film a rip-roaring laugh riot, in my opinion. And, Danny goes back to the theater where he's in the film. He's getting ready to see Jack Slater 6. He starts watching, or 7, starts watching the movie. And, the golden movie, and Nick gives him this movie ticket. That is apparently a movie ticket that was given to him by the magician, or not a movie ticket, but a ticket in general that was given to him by the magician Harry Houdini. And, Nick gives it to him, and, Danny's in the theater, and while he's watching the film, he actually is sitting there watching the movie, and there's a part where sticks of dynamite come rolling into the theater. It goes through the screen, lands in the movie theater, and starts rolling down towards Danny. And Danny realizes this, and he's actually nervous. He tries calling for Nick, doesn't get an answer, then runs to the movie screen to where all of a sudden we just see a flash of light, and all of a sudden Danny is in the back of Jack Slater's car, and Jack Slater's like, "Who the hell are you?" And it just becomes this whole thing where Danny is in this movie, and every character he interacts with, he knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows how the characters are. He knows the characters' past lives from other movies, and they start questioning him and wondering what's going on, and it just becomes a whole thing from there, and just a unique ride. And this is where Danny learns the truth about Jack, how he isn't as tough as he seems. He's actually more human than he realized, and he realizes that Danny being here, he's messing up the world, and he's realizing he's changing things for himself. And there's actually one part where he's chasing down Benedict on a bike, and he's thinking because he's friends with Jack Slater, he'll be able to survive and beat Benedict. And then while he's riding the bike down the hill, playing chicken with Benedict, he's like, "Holy shit, I'm a glorified side character. Holy shit, I'm a sidekick side character." And then, he rolls the bike out of the way, and then all of a sudden he goes up this plank and is going across the roofs of the building, and they're sort of mimicking E.T. as he's doing this, and then, he crashes in a bunch of garbage below, and it's just amazing to see. And again, as the film goes on, earlier Danny mentioned to Jack that Benedict was talking with his mob boss there, and that they were gonna bump off a whole bunch of different mob bosses, which was the plot of the new Jack Slater movie. And Benedict actually runs into Danny, steals his movie ticket, and that's where Benedict gets out. Danny and Jack chase Benedict through the movie to the real world, and when Jack starts going through all of his usual routine, Danny's like, "No, Jack, you can't do that here. It's not going to work. This is a different reality. Everything you think is not going to work here." So when it starts happening to Jack, Jack is like, "Holy crap, what's going on here?" And that just ensues where everything that I told you before, they have their fight with Benedict, they stop Benedict from killing Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny survives his brush-in with the Ripper, Jack gets hurt, Danny gets Jack back to the movie, saves Jack's life, and, Danny's, opened up to the world, and he has a respect for, I think, the movies he watches now, and the movie characters, and knowing that these people possibly have bigger lives on the inside than what we know. So again, a little fun, happy ending notion to this very fun, good movie. Let's see here. Next one in line is it that? Not quite yet. They label them a little bit differently from the movie case to here. But it is Charles Dance as Benedict. Yes, you heard me say that right. Charles Dance plays Benedict, the assassin who works for the mafia boss trying to kill the other mob bosses, Tony Vivaldi. And, Benedict is this suave, really good assassin. He's got this overly large Smith & Wesson gun that he uses to kill people. He has multiple glass eyes, like demon eyes, eyes with hearts, happy face eyes. So glass eyes to fit his mood. And he also his eye isn't shot out or anything. It's still his own real eyes we see in the middle of the movie when he's looking at Danny's movie ticket. But we realize I think he uses it for an effect of, psyching people out and scaring them. But Benedict is Vivaldi's top assassin. He hates Vivaldi. He's going through his motions in the movie, doing what he does. Danny actually shows up to the compound and, with Jack, and, basically they're talking with Benedict and some of Benedict's, guards, or not Benedict's guards, Vivaldi's guards. And when they realize that Benedict isn't hiding anything and Jack's thinking, this kid's messing up here, Danny sees Benedict earlier in the film and he's like, he had like a type of bullseye. It was a different eye, and he calls his boss an Italian schmuck. And Benedict's like, okay, how did he know that? So there's a point in the film where Jack is out. I think he's investigating, and he's actually left Danny with his daughter and some of the. There was going to be a boy that Melody was going to date and see, and so it was just Danny and Melody, and that's where Melody says, Dad went through a lot after I think his son's name was Sam or something, but she's like, when my brother died, our dad and me went through a lot. Dad specifically never forgave himself. So again, it builds off what Jack was experiencing. And as they're, talking, Benedict shows up, basically corners Melody and Danny and says, okay, I want to know how you knew about me. How did you know what our plan was, what we're going to do? How do you know what's going on? Danny plays coy, trying to not find out. Jack comes back because I think Danny points out that there's money there in Jack's drawers. It's marked bills that create smoke to know that they're marked. And, Benedict sees that they're marked. He tells his men to burn them. That sets up the smoke. Jack comes in, starts taking out all the guys. Benedict gets away. And that's where, Benedict is back in his apartment. He turns on, or back at Vivaldi's place, he turns on the TV. And hilariously enough, to accent the scene of the magic golden ticket, you have Twilight Zone playing in the background. And, Benedict sees the tickets glowing and he sees that there's this static in the wall. So Benedict puts his hand through the wall, and he's just curious as his hand's going through it, and he just keeps testing it, wondering, what's going on, what's happening. So the movie continues on. Benedict's gonna go through with Vivaldi's plan. There's actually a bomb in one of the fat gangsters that Vivaldi and Benedict planted, and as you can guess, all the hilarity ensues with Jack trying to stop the bomb from going off and everything, and he actually holds on to this fat guy the entire time, fighting his way through mobsters, not getting shot by a helicopter. And Danny and Jack actually take the fat mobster, and he goes into the La Brea tar pits when the bomb goes off, creating this big, huge, gas bubble. So, Vivaldi and Benedict's plan was thwarted. And Benedict comes back, kills Vivaldi, and says with the golden ticket, if Danny Mann can travel through parallel worlds, I can travel through parallel worlds. And I forget what the rest of his speech is, but he goes through this long speech, and it ends with, if God were a villain, he'd be me. It's just so great hearing, Charles Dance be like that. So Charles Dance goes through, with the golden ticket. Jack and Danny are behind him, and Benedict actually gets away. And when Benedict is actually going around New York, he actually walks up to this mechanic. And I hope I don't tick off any fans if I have any fans from New York, but I mean, you guys can tell me that it's not true, but crime is rampant, and there are quite a lot of cities where if a murder happens, some people don't care. And that's the sad thing, because in this part of the movie, Benedict comes up to this mechanic and he's like, excuse me, I was wondering if you could help me. And the guy's like, yeah, what do you need, pal? And he's like, well, okay, let's see. And then he just shoots him with a gun, and he just sits there, listening. And he's like, hello, I shot someone. I said I shot someone. I shot someone, and I would like to confess. Send me to jail. And then you just hear a bunch of people say, shut up, shut up, stop talking. And then, he looks around and smirks and realizes he just got away with murder scot-free. So that enacts Benedict's plan, where we see Benedict, bring the Ripper out of Jack Slater 4, and as well, then plan to assassinate the real Arnold Schwarzenegger to keep Jack Slater from being born. So, again, obviously, everything at the movie theater happens the same way as I've already explained it. They get there, and then after Jack Slater saves Danny from falling over the top of the building, or falling down from the top of the building, that's where Benedict is there shooting at them, and he's in a nice tuxedo. He's got this red grenade type glass eye that he's wearing, and basically he's shooting at Danny and Jack, and he's like, Jack, this is a world where the villains can win. We can always win. We can do whatever we want. There could be a christening for Adolf Hitler, and then we could all gather around and have a baby shower for Rosemary's Baby, and something like that. He lists off a whole bunch of different movie-type villains from films, and there's actually a part where Benedict is shooting, and we hear a chamber click, and, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out, oh, Benedict, did you make a movie mistake? You used all your bullets. No, Jack, I just left one chamber empty on purpose. And then he shoots him, Jack goes down, and then, Jack is down on the ground, he's bleeding from where he got shot, and, Danny comes in to try to stop Benedict. Benedict hits him, Danny's basically pretending to be hurt, and then, there's this gun on the ground that, there's this, what happens is, you have, Benedict coming up to where he's about to shoot Jack. Danny, I think, tackles Benedict. Benedict loses his gun. Jack picks up Benedict's gun, and Benedict still has the golden ticket with him, to where he's about to want to use the golden ticket, and he actually goes no, and he doesn't go anywhere. He has the ticket in hand and realizes he's not going anywhere, and then that's where Jack picks up the gun, and once again, in awesome Arnold Schwarzenegger fashion, no sequel for you. Bam! And shoots Benedict right in his glass eye, where Benedict's body explodes. Sadly, they lose the first half of the ticket. That's where death comes out of the screen, but that's where they, again, race back to the movie theater and get the other half of the ticket to save Jack. And, again, Charles Dance was just so great in this movie. I mean, he fits so well. I mean, Charles Dance is a great actor. He can do comedy. He can do serious roles, semi-serious. I mean, the guy, everything that I have of him, whether it's a TV show, movie, you name it. He is good in everything he does. Like Charles Dance is such a great actor. I mean, I've got to give him mad props every time, for sure. Oh, man. Thirsty as all hell. Huh. Because when you do as much talking as me, I can understand. Let's see, moving on. Alright here. Yes. We now get to F. Murray Abraham, who plays... No, shoot, what's his... Oh, wait, yeah, I think it's... let me double check. I think it's John Practice, if I remember. Yeah, F. Murray Abraham, who plays John Practice. And if any of you guys know F. Murray Abraham's work, big actor, big supporting actor from the 80s and 90s. 90s, I think, is where he sort of ended his career, because I know F. Murray Abraham really wasn't in anything too much else after the 90s. But in this film, he plays an FBI agent named John Practice, who's actually good friends with Jack Slater. And, they sort of have their buddy things, as sometimes these cop movies do, where there's people from other divisions or cops or, FBI, CIA, where there's somebody who knows somebody, and, they're actually seen getting on very well. But when John Practice leaves the first time, when Jack brings Danny to the station, Danny's like, "Wait a minute, Jack, you can't trust him. He killed Mozart." John Practice, come on, you're kidding. He wouldn't kill, what's his name, Mozart? He wouldn't kill him. And it's like, Danny's like, well, either way, you better watch out for him. You better not trust him. And, so there's that sort of good relationship build. And, you find out that what John Practice was trying to look into what was going on with all the mob bosses as well with Jack, so they were again working together as partners in the classic 80s film, 90s action film fashion, to where when Danny and Jack find out that Tony Vivaldi and Benedict are really going to blow up a bunch of the mobsters at the fat gangster's funeral, losing my train of thought here. Oh yes, Jack Slater calls John Practice to say, get everybody out of the building, warn them. So Jack Slater and John Practice, show up, and they get to know the same thing, to where, they're trying to tell them what's going on, and all of a sudden, John Practice and Jack Slater are, running together to try to stop the whole thing, but that's all of a sudden where Jack goes in front of John, and John basically pulls out a gun saying, "I can't let you do that, that bomb's gotta go off, Jack." And then Jack says, like, "So, you're working for Vivaldi?" And John's like, "Yeah, that's basically how it is. You know how it is, John. You get a lot of money, you gotta go for it." And he's like, "Daddy told me not to trust you. You killed Mozart." "Who?" "Mozart." Look, I killed a lot of people. I can't remember everybody's name. It's just so good to see these guys who can be seminally really good, serious actors just play these funny bit roles. And obviously, as that went on, Danny comes up behind John, and Danny's monologuing, keeping John in place, and then Danny gets caught by Benedict and Vivaldi, to where they're both handcuffed to a steel pole, and Vivaldi and Benedict tell John to finish off Jack Slater and Danny, and as they take off and leave the scene, like, John is getting ready to kill him, and that's where the cartoon partner cat of Jack Slater comes out of nowhere, Whiskers, and kills John Practice, ending him. And by the way, if you guys have seen this movie, and if you want to know Whiskers, I've never been able to find out, but I think Whiskers is voiced by Danny DeVito. It sounds like Danny DeVito. It also seems like a character Danny DeVito would play. And as you know, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger were quite close friends from Twins and I think a few other movies. So they knew each other pretty well as well. And, so that was the end of F. Murray Abraham's character. Nice little role for F. Murray Abraham. It was nice to see him in this movie, and it's just so funny with the Mozart scene. You killed Mozart. Who? Mozart. I've killed a lot of people. I can't remember everyone's name. And just hearing him say that is great and epic. Let's see. Continuing on. Yes, there is Art Carney, who Danny has no interaction with, but Art Carney is actually at the start of this film. He plays Jack's cousin, third or fourth cousin named Frank, who like Benedict and Tony Vivaldi beat up and left him for dead, and Jack comes into the house with a couple cops, and they're at Frank's house, and Frank is telling Jack that, Vivaldi's got me, I'm gonna check out, and, I'm not gonna make it. And then soon afterwards, Jack and the cops find a little surprised where a house blows up, and, Jack Slater's just singed, and then the other two cops are dead in a tree. But, a little small type role for Art Carney, little bit of interaction, nice little role for the guy to play. I mean, I know Art Carney's a well-known actor, but this was sort of I would say it's sort of like a supporting actor cameo role for him. So, but it was a nice little scene for Art Carney to play. Let's see. This movie had quite a lot of actors, so I know I'm making my way through them here. Oh yes, there is Frank McRae, who played Lieutenant Decker, and Frank McRae is the classic, over the top, over stressed out detective. Whenever he screams Slater, something breaks in his office, or the windows are breaking, or smoke's coming from Lieutenant Decker's ear. So again, over-the-top tropes of these characters, and just so funny to see. And there's points where Lieutenant Decker is yelling at Jack and Danny at some point in the movie. He's talking about you can't understand what Lieutenant Decker is saying. But there's actually a part where when Danny first shows up with Jack at the police precinct, and Lieutenant Decker and Jack are arguing, and Danny actually goes, you guys are arguing all the time, but you guys are actually friends. When you got wounded, Lieutenant Decker, and I think it was Jack Slater 3. Jack said, you got close to Jack, and you said, Jack, you're my very best friend. You said you wouldn't tell. I didn't. It's just all these fun little things. And, seeing Frank McRae play the over-the-top police chief and police lieutenant is great to see. I mean, I think it's another role that fits Frank McRae well. He knows how to get those high, raw emotions in any movie he does. I know Frank McRae's been in a lot of other types of films too. License to Kill. He's also in 1941, which is another good comedic sort of movie done by Steven Spielberg. So if you guys have not seen that, I would suggest it, because 1941, molto bellissimo, or bellissimo, I forgot which it is. But I was supposed to say molto bene. But it's Frank McRae knows how to play Lieutenant Decker and the over-the-top thing. And at the end of the film, when Jack Slater gets back and is saved from his wound that he got from Benedict, Lieutenant Decker is still yelling at him, yelling at the top of his lungs, and you know, Slater's like, shut up! You're always yelling! You always need to yell, you're the comic relief! You know, you need to calm down and not do it! And it's like, so hilarious to see, and like, Decker's like, so Frank McRae's reaction is like, whoa! So, again, a nice little role for Frank McRae there as well. I shouldn't say little, a decent-sized role for Frank McRae. And we have, let's see, yeah, Tom Noonan, who plays the Ripper as well as himself in this movie. And like the Ripper we see in the beginning, he's basically this guy, very sunken face, like eyes look like they sort of have like these creases and just sinking in there, you know, nasty looking teeth, you know, bald on top, long hair at the back, you know, just wiry and greasy. He wears raincoats, and you know, he has an axe that he uses to kill people. And again, he's with Jack's son in the beginning of the film, to where he's telling Jack to lose his weapons, and you know, Jack tosses his gun away. He like takes out like several automatic guns, drops like several grenades, couple of throwing knives, and like all these few other weapons. And the Ripper actually goes, "Is that all, sport?" You know, like just like saying, "Are you done?" And you know, there's that whole thing to where, you know, Ripper's saying, you know, Jack, let's try to go this out. Let's try to do what we can here. You know, you think you can reform me, but you're not going to stop me. And then when the Ripper, you know, is going to do what he can. Oh yeah, one of the grenades actually rolls. Oh wait, no. There's a grenade that Jack throws at the Ripper. And the Ripper's like, "You're not going to kill me or your own son. You don't have the gumption for it." So, you know, Jack rolls the grenade to the Ripper, and the Ripper's like, "Son, pick it up. No sudden moves now." And Jack's son picks it up, and he realizes there's a switchblade in the grenade, so a blade comes out, and then Jack's son stabs the Ripper with it, and then that's where the gunshots come, and sadly where the Ripper dies, and he takes Jack's son over the roof with him, and they both fall to their death. But as we see, you know, the film goes on, like I said, Benedict gets out, he takes the Ripper from Jack Slater 4, and we see, like, the Ripper coming up into the shot. And the funny thing is, the press actually thinks it's Tom Noonan from Jack Slater 4, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Tom Noonan from Jack Slater 4. The Ripper's here. Oh, Tom, speak to us. What do you think you're gonna do here tonight?" "Oh, I think I may kill someone." And they're like, you know, none the wiser. But that's actually the Ripper caricature reel about to actually kill someone, which sadly he kills Rick Ducommun in this movie, and Rick Ducommun is playing Tom Noonan's agent. And, you know, poor Rick Ducommun, another role that he's in that he like dies or gets, you know, made the meaningless base of. It feels so bad for Rick Ducommun. I wonder, does it say Rick Ducommun is yeah, or well, it says he's the Ripper's agent, but you know, it should be, you know, Tom Noonan's agent. But like yeah, you have like Rick Ducommun playing Tom Noonan's agent, and sadly the Ripper kills him, because you actually see the Ripper walking around the movie theater with his agent's coat on after he's done assembling his axe. But there's actually a part where when the Ripper was gonna try to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny warns Jack, and Jack saves Arnold Schwarzenegger. But when Danny's trying to track down the Ripper, he runs into him. The Ripper brings him to the top of the roof, and then, you know, like Jack gets there, and you know, Ripper's like, you know, Jack, haven't we done this sing and song and dance before? You know, don't you get the sense of deja vu, Jack? And then, again, the Ripper's like, lose the piece, Jack. So, Jack tosses the gun, and, you know, Ripper, being the maniacal psychopath that he is, oh wait, I forgot, before that part, there's actually a part where actual Tom Noonan comes up, and then the reporter's like, wait, Tom, didn't you already come through? And Tom Noonan's like, huh? like, I came through already? How did that happen? But, like, you know, the Ripper, being the psychopath that he is like, you know, Jack, since we've already played this game, why don't we just go ahead and skip right to the end? So he throws Danny over the top, and then, you know, Jack is like all scared and like, you know, just like, oh my god, I can't believe you did this again. And then all of a sudden, you know, like Ripper takes out an axe and throws it at Jack. Jack dodges it, and then what happens is that the axe like clashes to the wall next to him, and then you have the Ripper going, and, and it's raining, and, you know, they're near electrical wires, and you have the Ripper going, yo, come on, Jack, come on, come get me, Jack, come on, Jack, and, you know, basically just taunting Jack Slater the entire time. But Jack takes the axe, smashes it into some of the electrical wires that basically the Ripper is standing on top of, and he's standing on top of everything, and he's holding on to some metal mesh, and he's getting like electrocuted through this entire time. He's like, yeah! And then I can't believe they had Tom Noonan as the Ripper say this, but he's like, I'll be back! And then Jack Slater's like, no you won't. And, like, you know, Ripper falls over dead, and then Jack checks on Danny, which Danny's holding on to a pole on the other side before Jack saves him, and they have their fight with Benedict. So, nice role for Tom Noonan. Another really good, you know, psychopathic role in another action film movie here. And, you know, Tom Noonan is great. You know, Tom Noonan is a great actor. I don't think a lot of people have given Tom Noonan a lot of credit for the roles he's done, like the Ripper in this movie, Kane in RoboCop 2, and I know he's played in a couple other things I can't remember. Sorry, on the top of my head. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Like I said, this is exactly why I try not to do these late, because I'm starting to get a little tired, plus probably a good time to have more water. Sadly, it's the bad thing when you do long videos. At least in my opinion. Maybe I should have grabbed tea or coffee. I'll have to remember that too, to maybe give myself a booster before I do these. But I'm still feeling good, so we're gonna keep cracking on here. So here I go. And then let's see. Just making sure. Yes, we have Robert Prosky, who plays Nick, who works the projection booth at the movie theater. And, you know, Nick is this nice old man, very sweet character. You know, Robert Prosky, nice actor, has always been, you know, he's always been known for playing, like, the sweet type of characters, and for the other characters that have existed throughout, like, shows and stuff like that. I think, I don't know if this is correct, but I think Robert Prosky played the grandpa in the Munsters. Like, he was the vampire grandfather in the Munsters show for that family. At least I think. I could be wrong about that. But, you know, Robert Prosky plays Nick, who's just, you know, nice old man, sweet old man, you know, really likes having movies, knows they're going to update the theater, isn't too happy about it, but, you know, he's going to accept it because, you know, he's like, maybe the change will bring people back, because not a lot of people visit the movie theater anymore, because it's sort of like a dilapidated, rundown movie theater. But he promises Nick, you know, one thing. He's like, why don't you come back at midnight, and I'll show you the first screening of Jack Slater 6 or 7 again. And you have, like, Danny leave, Danny, comes back to the movie theater. Sadly, I don't think I went over this. He actually gets robbed at the beginning part of the movie. Like, his apartment gets robbed because he was about to go out and he sees this one guy walking across the apartment. He shuts his door. He opens his door to look out again, and the guy rushes into the house and basically, robs him. Says that he and his family, don't have anything. Like he's like, oh, I can only, a VCR that'll only give me like 25 or 30 bucks and a crappy TV. He's like, you guys have got, nothing. And oh yeah, and he handcuffed Danny to the side of the toilet, and he drops the key to the toilet, and he's like, there you go, kid, go fish. Danny eventually got out, made the report at the police station, and he shows up, and then he's like calling for Nick, and Nick's like, oh, I thought you weren't gonna make it, but you're here, okay. Sorry that you were running late. But then all of a sudden, Nick is having a very special occasion for the film, and he's dressed up as this nice, really good-looking usher, and he's like, I have something to show you, Danny. This movie ticket, this golden ticket, has possessed magical qualities. I got it from Harry Houdini as a child, and he said something magical would always happen. And Danny asks Nick, like, what? What could happen? And Nick's like, well, I don't know. I've been too afraid to try. So, he cuts the half of the ticket, throws it in the bin, and gives the other half to Danny. To which Danny takes it into the theater, and that's where the whole thing starts. When Danny comes back with Jack Slater, Danny's telling Nick about what happens. Nick sadly passed out in the projection booth again, and he and Danny are talking, and Nick's like, wow, the ticket worked. It really worked. It worked, and he's like, geez, think of all the things I could do. I could see Marilyn Monroe. I could have and I know he mentions Marilyn Monroe, and he talks about all these different actors and actresses. He could go see movies of his year, and he's excited about it. Then Danny tells him how Benedict took the ticket, and there's all that rush. So again, get to the end of the movie when Danny's trying to rush Jack back to the to his own world so he can actually live from his bullet wound and not die. Jack and Nick are there trying to help, and that's where Death shows up, and Death is Death shows up, and then all of a sudden, Danny takes the gun and he's pointing it at Death. He's like, you're not gonna take him. You're not gonna take him. And all these different types of things. You're gonna leave him. You're not gonna take Jack. And then Death is like, oh, I'm not here for Jack. And he's like, me? No, not yet, Danny. You get to grow old. You get to be a grandfather. And then Death is walking away. And he's like, wait, you have to help me. You have magical properties. You can help me. You have to help him get him back in there. Sorry, I don't do fiction. And then he's like, how dare you? You can try to help me. Don't do it all or shoot. If I were you, Danny, you have the other half of the ticket. And so Death just gives off that vibe, saying, get the other half of the ticket. And Danny goes to get it. Nick and Danny get it, and they get Jack back into the movie, to where again Nick and Danny are standing there for the nice seminal happy ending. And again, nice role for Robert Prosky. Guy's a dreamer. He seems to love working in the projection booth. An old-time movie guy. Yeah, he's old, he's tired, he's sleeping all the time. But it's a nice, really fun role for Robert Prosky to play. And it seemed like Robert Prosky had a lot of fun playing this character. And then there is Anthony Quinn, who plays Tony Vivaldi, who is the mob boss trying to kill all the other mob bosses in this movie. And Tony Vivaldi is a complete moron. He has no idea what's going on. He doesn't speak really good grammar. He's a foolish type person, a bumbling villain, you know. And, you know, you even had Tony Vivaldi say, you know, I wanted to cut Jack Slater in and make him be a part of this. But how did he find out? How did he find out about everything? You know, and it's like typical guy just like freaking out over everything. And, you know, I mean, Anthony Quinn is just the bumbling mafia guy, and he played it so well, and, you know, so genuine, and he just seems to be so confused all the time. And after his plot failed to kill the mobsters, Benedict actually comes back to his house, and he's like, oh, how was it? Give me details. Was it death, destruction? What are all these different things, you know? And, like, you know, Benedict's playing him on, telling him, oh, it went well, there was death, destruction, screaming everywhere, really, come on, tell me. And then he's like, there was nothing, you Sicilian idiot. It failed, everything backfired, they stopped it. And he's like, and then he like points the gun at me, and he's like, oh, he points the gun, oh, sorry, yeah. He points the gun at Vivaldi, getting ready to kill him, and he's like, wait a minute, Benedict, I don't understand, we're partners. You're going 360 on me. 180. I did a 180 on you, because if I did a 360, I would go all the way around and be back to where I started. Huh? Trust me. And, you know, he just shoots him, like, cause like, Anthony Quinn's just like, what? Like, he even got confused by that himself, so Benedict takes him out and kills him. And it's a good role for Anthony Quinn, decent sized role as well for Anthony Quinn, you know. Seemed to have a lot of fun. It was nice to see him be in this role. I know I've seen Anthony Quinn from other stuff. I don't know exactly where, but it was a nice, good, decent sized role for him to play, and it was nice to see Anthony Quinn be in the movie. And one person who I was shocked that they also had in this movie too was Mercedes Rule, who plays Danny's mother, Irene Madigan. And Mercedes Rule is his mother, who, like, I think she works at, like, a diner or something of some sort, but she's always trying to make sure that, you know, Danny takes care of himself. She wants Danny to grow up. She doesn't want Danny to be like his father, because from the looks of it, the father and her got divorced, and she's taking care of him, and all these different things. So she's sort of the uptight mother, but she really cares about Danny a lot. She just doesn't want Danny to get into trouble or be killed. And, you know, basically that's sort of her part in the beginning, to where she's just there trying to take care of Danny. And when she goes off to work, and then there's the robbing, and Danny goes to the movie theater, like, you know, Danny actually comes home with Jack Slater. Danny knocks on the door, and, like, you know, Irene is freaking out about her son being gone. She's like, what happened? You know, I come home, you're not here, and I find out we were robbed. What happened? What did you do? What did you do? Why is it like this? And then all of a sudden, she's like, Mom, I know you're going to be angry, but, and he steps aside, and then all of a sudden, Jack Slater comes in, and he's like, how do you do, man? I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. and, you know, so, and she's like, ooh la la, look at this guy before me. And, you know, Danny goes to sleep that night, and then he wakes up, and he realizes his mom and him are talking, and, you know, they're having a good time, they're laughing with each other, they're actually flirting and being well, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, like, Jack actually goes, what do you mean you're not in school? You should be in school, and you're running out all the time, worrying your mother? That's not right. How do you explain that, Danny? Oh, Mom, you turned him into a wimp. It's just like all those cool things. So it was nice to see Irene and Jack getting along together, because there obviously was a nice little kinship. I would have had to say, if Jack stayed in the real world, and this was me since I was a kid, but if Jack stayed in the real world, I would have loved to have Jack, you know, actually get with Irene, and then have him be a part of Danny and his family, and, you know, have possibly that second chance of life that maybe he wanted to have. But I know that probably would have been selfish, and it didn't happen. So it was good that it didn't happen, but that was always like a dream of mine. If he did stay, he'd hook up with his mom, because I did like how they had that chemistry together. And you actually have a part where when Jack gets Danny back, and before Danny goes back to his world and stuff, they actually have Jack say to Danny, just take care of yourself, live your life, and look after your mother. Oh, your mother, it just makes me feel like, you can tell he was falling in love with her, and it was just all those different types of things. So a nice little role for Mercedes Ruehl. She plays the motherly figure really well. It's believable, and I like what she does in this movie. I mean, it's a nice, good role for her. And again, John McTiernan just does this movie so well. I mean, and the writer, let's see, let's see, there were 4 writers on here. There's Zach Penn, Adam Leff, Shane Black, and David Arnott, and these 4 writers made this film so funny and so great. And John McTiernan's direction just absolutely superb. I mean, this film is like a laugh out right from when it starts. There's a lot of homages to other. I'm always gonna say homage, but I think it's homage. But there's a lot of homages to other films, and Terminator, I think Predator, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis. There's a lot of nods to other actors, other films. There's a lot of other cameos too, like Tina Turner makes a cameo as the mayor. What's his? Oh, jeez. Oh, Robert Patrick makes a quick T-1000 role. He's seen coming out of the police precinct walking like the T-1000, and he's got the stare on his face. So that was a nice cameo role. And just this film had everything to make fun of action films. It's a completely great movie. I would say you guys have to see this film. And before I get into the comments, I will give you my rating of it. Easily, this film is a 10 out of 10. This film is a blast. It's funny. It's actually got a really good story to it. It's great. The action is really good. The way the action is stylized and made to be hilarious is great. Like, you can tell that this movie was just really well done. And it's a great action film. If you want an action comedy, this is it. Last Action Hero is a flippin' good, fucking great ride. And now, we will get to the bit of the horror story, because I can't believe this is what it was like. I figured at least audiences would have loved this movie, but I guess I was wrong. Because, to basically show you guys, with Ripper's lovely face on the trailer that they're having. Hello, Tom Noonan. Hold on, let me go ahead and get some more water here. Man, oh man, I'm just like, dang, let's see here. Oh yeah, you have, let's see. Oh geez, yeah, let's see, you have, let's see, yeah, for the critics, it's 40% tomato meter, and sadly, for the audience score, it's 47%. So, obviously, all across the board, not well received. That disappoints me, because I think this film is phenomenal, but hey, everybody has their opinions, and that's the thing. Like, not every film is going to be well received and liked. And as far as I'm concerned, there are films that I know a lot of people love and they give great praise to that I'm like, this is an awful movie. How did people like this film? So, again, it's all within our taste. So, but I mean, it's just sad that, like, I mean, I guess it could be worse, because I'm looking at another film here, and if you want to see another film that did worse, Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Aha. Yes. Speed 2. Speed 2, Cruise Control. 4% critics, 16% audience. So holy shit. That's terrible. Let's see. And this is the critics' consensus. It's rotten. And I quote, Last Action Hero has most of the right ingredients for a big-budget action spoof, but its scattershot tone and uneven structure only add up to a confused, chaotic mess. I disagree with that. I do not think so. I viewed these before, and it seems like a lot of people say this is a chaotic mess of a movie, and I'm like, I didn't think it was that much of a chaotic mess. I thought it was fun, and they added a whole bunch of stuff into it. Maybe it was too much for some people, but I thought it was a nice blend of everything. Again, a real fun movie. That's what action movies are supposed to be, and it's a spoof of an action movie. And you can't even take this movie seriously for a few minutes, but then when everything gets into the real world, that's when it starts becoming serious. But, you know, I mean, they dial it back, which is great. So I don't agree with that critic consensus at all, really. Let's see. There's going to be a lot of negatives, but there are quite a few positives. And let's see here. I will start with this. We have one from David Anson of Newsweek from November 8th of 2018. And I quote, Last Action Hero loses control of itself. No, it doesn't, David Anson. I will disagree with that completely. Because I think everything, you know, did what it could. Yes, they threw a lot in there, but it was a fun film overall. I did not mind it whatsoever. Let's see. We have a rotten review from Adam Mars-Jones from The Independent in the UK, and from November 14th of 2017. And I quote, The director has to boost the realism of his staging in a rather self-defeating manner. It begins to look not that he's having it both ways, trading on what he mocks, but that he has painted himself into a corner. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I can't even comment on that. I don't know what to think. Let's see. You have a rotten review where the quote is not available from September 7th of 2011 from Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly, so I shall not quote. There is another rotten review from January 1st of 2000 from Hal Hinson of the Washington Post, and it says, feels like a farewell of sorts to Arnold. I don't know why they would say that, because we got True Lies and a couple other films from Arnold Schwarzenegger before age started catching up to him. If you want to know what the big, like, sort of farewell to Arnold Schwarzenegger's original career was, that to me was Terminator 3. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, I think, was the farewell to the original career of Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was the true farewell, not Last Action Hero. Because I don't know why that's a rotten review. I'd sort of say that'd be a positive, because, I mean, if you're going to say this was one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's last big action films, which it wasn't. I mean, True Lies, I think, was one of his last biggest in 1995 or 94, whenever they made that movie. Or maybe it was 93 too, I can't remember. But that was a really good movie as well. True Lies is a great fun film as well. Let's see, we have a rotten review as well from January 1st of 2000 from Mark Saviov. Sorry if I butchered that. Mark Saviov from the Austin Chronicle. And I quote, the film tries so very hard to be the movie of summer 93 that it almost makes you sick of what could have been, what should have been, and in the end, what it is. Soulless sound and fury. Action in a vacuum. Wow, that's harsh. That is harsh, Mark Savai, or whatever your name is. Ooh, that sucks. Alright, I'm going to give you 3 positive reviews here, because we have 3 positive coming up. Alright, the first positive review is from Tom Hibbert of Empire Magazine from January 1st of 2020. And I quote, "This is an attempt to be both a high-octane action fest and a satire on such films, the result of which is the weirdest concoction of a metaphysical blockbuster." Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Thank you, Tom Hibbert. That is a great way to just explain this movie. A concoction of just metaphysical action. Yes, because it's not even sticking to a true action film. It is all over the place. It is zany. And you know what? It works for what John McTiernan and company did. So absolutely, I agree with you, Tom Hibbert. And let's see. We have one from May 19th of 2021. All right, so this year. And let's see. It's from Allison Rose of Flick Direct. And I quote, "There are a few men who could take in the role of Jack Slater, but Schwarzenegger embodies the physical and mental acumen of the last action hero." Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I know there's some people. I mean, I think that's why they were making jokes towards Mel Gibson, towards Bruce Willis, towards Sylvester Stallone, because a lot of people would think that they could do it too, but I really think that Arnold Schwarzenegger would have had to do Jack Slater. He in mine is the only action hero who could pull off a lot of the weird stunts they did in this movie, a lot of the weird things they had to do. Arnold Schwarzenegger is always carrying around a lot of people in this movie too, so when you think about it, if you're carrying around a lot of people, you're going to need a lot of your strength, and if you don't have that available, well, it's probably not going to work out for you. So, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, was the perfect choice for Jack Slater, so I agree with them there. And then the last one, guys, is from May 4th of 2021 from Alex Mady from Joe Blow's Movie Network. And I quote, "I am happy to say that not only does Last Action Hero hold up well almost 20 years later, but it remains one of the most underrated movie concepts of all time." Yes! Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you, because we have never seen another action movie spoof itself with such detail. I mean, granted, I know this is an amalgamation and a conglomerate of a whole lot of different action films into one thing, but again, it's fun. It works. Like, everybody does what they need to do so well that I can enjoy this movie without any problems. So, I agree with the positive reviews right at the end, and man, oh man, you know, for those negative ones, I mean, again, you guys don't like action movies, plain and simple. At least that's what I'll call y'all out on, is that, yeah, you don't like action movies all together too much. But that is the end of the review, and I wanted to say, for all that I spoiled and gave away here, what did you guys think? Do you guys love The Last Action Hero? Is it a film that you enjoy? Would you find it as fun as me and laugh at the corny jokes and everything? I mean, we'll see, but, you know, just let me know down in the comments section to let me know what you think of this movie. Is this movie something you would like? Would you like to see this movie in other Arnold Schwarzenegger films? Do you think there's another funnier Arnold Schwarzenegger film other than this? And I guess I should say discounting Twins and Kindergarten Cop, but that's just me. You could always add it later on, and yeah, sadly, tiredness is hitting me a little bit, but I will get ready to do my final sin. Oh, man. Well, again, I'm not going to be really bad at this, but I will basically say and state as well that we can really burn the world. We can really burn the world and do a lot of bad things in it, but there's a lot of good in this world still, and I think that's why God keeps fighting, why he keeps fighting, and we have to keep, going on and do what we do, and, we just have to keep it going and show that there's good, show that God is, not wrong, there's, great reasons for why we are still here, and that even if you take God out of the equation, we could still be good and decent living human beings. We don't have to be all this terrible and bad all the time, but man, oh man, the way the government, and again, I'm not saying the new variants don't exist, folks, but I'm just saying the way the government comes down on everything makes me mad. It makes me so mad that it's like, what is the point of us living anymore? Because we can't even live. Because it's a fear of just, if you do anything, you're ostracized, or you're the last man out, or you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're all these terrible things. And, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. But, this whole week, President Biden did not fill me with confidence. He has no idea where he is. He's stumbling around in the dark, trying to find where he needs to go, what he needs to do. And, it's sad to see that man deteriorate. It's funny, but it's also sad and pathetic. He should not be up there. I agree with what Blaze TV and a couple other people say. It is elder abuse. And elder abuse is running rampant and very, very just plain to see throughout what's happened. And again, I will say within final saying with everything that they're changing, I'm going to keep living my life. I'm not going to change if they keep trying to push this. I hope that as well, everything that they're trying to do with the vaccine passports and stuff never come to pass, because I do not want to do that as well. I do not want to show my papers everywhere I go, and we shouldn't have to have papers. This is America. We shouldn't have to do any of that at all. And, it's just, it really, really is a very sad time. And, this isn't the country I recognize anymore. It's not. It's different. It's like everything has to be critical race theory now. Everything has to be so precise, pristine. There's no margin for error. But then at the same time, when you do stuff like that, you can't be you. You have to have some errors. We're humans. We can be fallible. We can be charged with treasons and things like that. And just, we make mistakes. That's the whole point. And personally, with me just handing the torch over to the general, it makes me think that, so, was there ever a better plan for doing any of this stuff? Because I have no idea. And this is why I'm hugely anti-establishment, because overall, the government doesn't care. They don't care, and they probably will not care for many, many years to come. So, and final saying before we leave here, guys. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck his whole cabinet. Let's see. And fuck everybody else who tries to do a dirty deed this week, including me. So if I fuck up, just show me that I fucked up, O Lord, and punish me accordingly, or give me the signs as you've done for these last couple days. So, we gotta bring an end to all this craziness. But until then, guys, 012 Boku here, and you're leaving the spoiler zone. Deuces. Have a good night.